I never thought I'd be the one telling a story like this. My wife Sarah and I had been married for 5 years. We were what everyone called the perfect couple. We rarely argued, supported each other's careers, and still had that spark, so I thought. It all started a few months ago. Sarah became distant, glued to her phone, smiling at texts but brushing them off as just work stuff when I asked. I trusted her, so I let it go. I told myself I was being paranoid, that every long-term relationship has its lulls. Then came the business trip. Sarah was a graphic designer and occasionally traveled for conferences. She told me she had a big one coming up in Miami, a week-long event that was crucial for her career. She seemed genuinely excited, talking about the speakers and workshops. I was happy for her, supportive as always. I helped her pack, joked about how much I'd miss her cooking, and promised to water her plants. She was leaving on a Monday morning, so the weekend before she left was strange. She was overly affectionate, almost like she was trying too hard. It felt like she was saying goodbye for more than just a week. A little red flag went up in my mind, but I pushed it down. Don't be that guy, I told myself. Trust your wife. The day she left, I dropped her at the airport. We had a long hug. She kissed me and said, "I'll miss you. I'll call you every night." I watched her walk toward security until she disappeared from view. The house felt empty that evening. I decided to do some cleaning to keep myself busy. I started in our home office, tidying up the desk we shared. That's when I found it. Tucked under a stack of old mail was an envelope from a travel agency. My first thought was that it was just junk mail, but curiosity got the better of me. I opened it. Inside was a flight itinerary to round-trip tickets to Miami for the exact dates of her business trip. My name wasn't on the second ticket. My heart sank into my stomach. The first ticket was under her name, Sarah Miller. The second was for a Mark Chen. I didn't know a Mark Chen. I racked my brain. Was he a coworker? A client? She'd never mentioned him. I felt a cold dread wash over me. She said she was going alone. She was so clear about it. "It's just me, a solo work trip," she'd said. But here was concrete proof in black and white that someone else was going with her. The tickets were booked together, same flight, same confirmation number. This wasn't a coincidence. My mind started racing. All the little things from the past few months suddenly clicked into place. The secretive phone calls, the late nights at the office, the way she'd been so distant. It was all starting to form a very ugly picture. I felt sick. My first instinct was to call her, to scream and demand an explanation, but what would she say? She'd just lie again. She'd say it was a mistake, a coworker who booked at the same time, a misunderstanding. I needed more than just a flight itinerary. I needed undeniable proof. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat on the couch, staring at those plane tickets, feeling my world crumble around me. The woman I had built my life with, the person I trusted more than anyone, was lying to my face. The next day, I felt numb. I went to work, but I couldn't focus. I just kept replaying everything in my head. Who was Mark Chen? I did something I'm not proud of. I went onto her social media. I'd never felt the need to snoop before, but this was different. I scrolled through her friends list, her tagged photos, everything, and then I found him. Poe. His profile picture was a grinning, handsome guy, probably around our age. Their mutual friends list was small, but they were connected. I clicked on his profile. It was mostly public. Photos of him traveling at fancy dinners with friends. And then I saw it. A picture from a few months back. A group photo from a work event. And right there, next to Mark, was Sarah. They were standing close, laughing. It was an innocent enough photo, but now it looked like everything. It wasn't enough. I needed more. The pain was unbearable, but the need to know the truth was even stronger. That night she called, just like she promised. Her voice was cheerful, telling me about the conference, how the first day was so insightful. I played along. I asked her questions, my voice tight. "How's the hotel? Are you sharing a room with a coworker?" She laughed. "No, silly. The company booked me my own room. It's nice but kind of lonely without you." The lie was so effortless it chilled me to the bone. Every word she spoke was a knife twisting in my gut. I felt like a fool. I knew what I had to do. It was a crazy idea, a desperate move. but I couldn't live in this state of torturous uncertainty. I looked at the flight itinerary again. Her return flight was on Sunday. I still had a few days. The next morning, I called my boss and told him I had a family emergency. I booked a one-way flight to Miami. It was the longest flight of my life. My mind was a whirlwind of anger, hurt, and a tiny, foolish sliver of hope that maybe, just maybe, I was wrong. Maybe there was a logical explanation for all of this. When I landed in Miami, I took a cab straight to the hotel listed on the booking confirmation I found online, which matched the airline tickets. It was a beautiful beachfront resort, not exactly the kind of place you'd expect for a standard business conference. As I walked into the lobby, I felt my heart pounding in my chest. I didn't have a plan. What was I going to do? Confront them right there? I just needed to see it with my own eyes. I went to the hotel bar, which had a view of the pool area, and ordered a drink I didn't even want. I sat there for what felt like an eternity, just watching, and then I saw them. Sarah and Mark, they were walking out toward the beach, hand in hand. She was wearing a sundress, laughing at something he said. She leaned her head on his shoulder. They looked like a couple on their honeymoon. All the air left my lungs. The tiny sliver of hope I had clung to was completely extinguished. It was real. Everything I had feared was happening right in front of me. They settled down on a couple of beach loungers, and he leaned over and kissed her. It wasn't a friendly peck. It was a long, passionate kiss. In that moment, my world shattered. The pain was physical. I couldn't breathe. I just sat there, frozen, watching my wife, the love of my life, with another man. I didn't confront them. What was the point? I had my answer. Seeing them together was all the closure I needed. I finished my drink, walked out of the hotel, and took a cab back to the airport. I booked the first flight home. When I got back to our empty house, I started packing. I packed a bag for her with all her things. I put the 2 plane tickets right on top. Then I packed a bag for myself. I wrote a short, simple note. I know. When you get home, your things will be at your mother's. Don't call me. I left my wedding ring on the note. And then I walked out of the house we had built together and never looked back. The days that followed were a blur of pain and logistics. I stayed with a friend, ignored her frantic calls and texts, and filed for divorce. Her messages went from confusion to denial, then to anger, and finally to tearful apologies. But it was too late. Trust, once broken so completely, can't be pieced back together. Looking back, finding those plane tickets was the worst and best thing that ever happened to me. It was the worst because it confirmed my deepest fear and ended my marriage. But it was the best because it saved me from living a lie. It forced me to see the truth, no matter how ugly it was. It's been a long road to healing, and some days are still hard. But I know I made the right decision. Can't build a future on a foundation of lies. The truth, as painful as it is, sets you free. Thank you for listening to my story. If you've been through something similar, know that you're not alone and that it does get better. Please subscribe for more stories.